Going on, party people? We're back with some more Greeditational Week 6 action. This is a match between Heysup and Fatty, also known as Brewfast, on the opposing side of the field for today's video here. And let's get into it here. So these two are fighting for a playoff spot. I do want to address a mistake I made a couple of videos back. I think it was between Raichi and Greedy. Both those players ended up making the playoffs, so they weren't really fighting for a playoff spot. It was more, it came down to points, I think, or tiebreakers rather. So yeah, but these two players are definitely fighting for a playoff spot here. This is gonna be the last week 6 match I cover too, so we're gonna get right into the playoffs. Next video I cover on this tour anyways. I might do something else for the next video on the channel, but we'll see. Anyways, starting things off with an ORS little cup match between these two. I'm not going to clarify this every single time, but in this tour, basically each player gets to, it's generations 3 to 9 little cup, and each player gets to eliminate 2 of those tiers, and the 3 that are remaining are the 3 that you do in the best of 3. Yeah, so we're starting things off with the ORS little cup here. So both players bringing, you know, actually pretty similar teams. I mean, you got 4 Pokemon, they're the same on both sides of the field if I'm counting correctly here. So both players got a Mindfu, both of them got a Pawniard, both of them got a Chinchou, and both of them have a Porygon. I mean, 4 very common Pokemon, but yeah. Also not very experienced in ORS, covering ORS Little Cup. I've experienced covering ORS OU quite a bit, not quite Little Cup, so I'll do my best here. I do know that Snivy does get the contrary ability, though, so it's going to be doing similar things to its evolution does in OU. And looking at Brewfast's team, I mean, you can deal with that Fungus, yeah, that thing's going to be punching some holes. Pawniard might be a bit of an obstacle too. Heysup also bringing the Snubble there, but I don't think Snubble's going to be doing too much, depending on how how Fatty plays this. Considering there's a Fungus that can threaten Sludge Bombs, and a Pawniard that can threaten Iron Heads. So, yeah, I don't know how much that Snubble's going to do. It is an answer to Mindfu, which is nice. You can get Intimidates off on that Arkin as well, but other than that, we'll see if it ends up making an impact here in this battle. And then just bringing up the defensive core there with those other 4 Pokemon that I already mentioned. Fatty bringing an Arkin to this as well. I could see this end up being a lead, just get up rocks, but maybe more of an offensive route with that thing. And yeah, and bring the Fungus, as I already mentioned, which I think can play a big role in this match. Just looking at Heysup's team, we'll have to get into it here. Alright, so Mindfu lead from Heysup. Arkin lead from Fatty as expected. Probably trying to get some quick rocks up. Does. As Mindfu just goes for the knockoff. Doesn't quite knock that thing into defeatist range. So we can get off a big hit here. Heysup kind of has to go into Pawniard to resist something. Acrobatics still doing decent damage. Not quite a 2-hit KO. Fatty gonna save that thing for later. Brings in Mindfu on the T-Wave. Not a bad thing to get statused. Now you can get those slow U-turns off. Snubble coming in. Gets the Intimidate off. So you do see the U-turn as expected. Porygon coming out here for Fatty. Gets the special attack boost, which is nice. Heysup going into Chinchou. Which might indicate Volt Absorb. Not gonna take 2 tri-attacks. Could be a roll, but yeah. Fatty's using that opportunity to agility up as, ooh, Chinchou gets the Thunder Wave off here, so, and then followed by Scald, and then gets the tri-attack KO. So I'm thinking what happened that turn when Fatty clicked agility, probably expecting a switch into something, and just trying to get the edge here on whatever Heysup wanted to go to, maybe Mindfu. You know, with an agility, you'd obviously be able to outspeed and get the follow-up KO on that thing. So yeah, I do see what Fatty was doing there. I wouldn't say that was entirely like a misplay. It does suck that Heysup was able to get the T-Wave off there, but I do see what Fatty was going for. I mean, you got rocks up, you kind of have a bit of an edge here. You still got Arkin that's not in defeatist yet, so you know, I don't really blame Fatty for that play at all. Pawniard coming out here. I'm just gonna, this Porygon's just gonna straight drop to a knockoff here. I think it was packing Berry Juice rather than a Violite. Mindfu's gonna lose its Violite to this next one here, but still gets the KO with the high jump kick on the Pawniard. So we got a 5-4 game here for Fatty. Snubble coming out as expected, gets to intimidate off. Fatty probably just gonna want to get out of here. Hard switches into Chinchou rather than taking a play rough. Lands on the Chinchou. That does some good damage, but Berry Juice does get activated here. Hydro Pump not quite knocking that thing out and activates the Berry Juice. That could have been a roll, but fortunate miss on the play rough right after. Snivy coming out here. Ooh, a T-Wave would be nice here. Nope, clicks Hydro Pump and activates Snivy's Berry Juice. And now this thing can just go for Leaf Storm, but you still got the Fungus in the back at full HP here. Heysup knows this, clicks Sub, maybe expecting that. Good play. You kind of have to make plays like this at this point in the game. Gets Glare off. Sludge Bomb, obviously good to break the Sub there. Heysup probably going to want to get out. Goes into Porygon. What's Fatty going to do here? Sludge Bomb connects on the Porygon. Big crit. Forcing that Berry Juice to activate on the Porygon. And then Sub's down. I do wonder if this is Sub Agility. Maybe Charge Beam in the back. See a Tri-Attack connect on the Fungus. If that's Berry Juice, it's going to get activated. No? Oh, right. It has the download. That's right. Okay, sorry. I was wondering why that was doing so much damage here. So that's in a Violate Fungus. Acrobatic's going to break a Sub on the Porygon. Arcan's just going to live that. It's now in Defeatist range. Oh, but gets a big crit with the Acrobatics. Nice. Fortunate. Yeah, that's... okay, well... Yeah. Anyways, let's move on here. Pawniard coming out here on the Snubble. On the T-Wave... Okay, no Lumberry or anything like that, so this thing is paralyzed indefinitely. Mindfu coming in here on the Iron Head. It's a bit of chip on this thing. It can just regen off later. Fatty going to Mindfu here on the knockoff, which has already lost its item, so Heysup's going to U-turn out of there. But Fatty does get the slow U-turn if he does click it here, which is probably what's going to happen. Yes. That's the advantage of being paralyzed. You can get those slow U-turns and get some switch initiative here. Chinchou coming out. Heysup going into Snivy. Do we see a T-Wave here? No, we see another pump. And gets the Sucker Punch KO on the follow-up. Nice. I was just looking at the speed there. Those two Pokemon actually have the same speed stat. That's a big Sucker Punch. That's like such a clutch move for Chinchou to run his Sucker Punch. Every single time I see someone bring Sucker Punch on, Chinchou always does something like this. Sorry, I had to go back and just admire that moment. Just soak in that moment a bit. Hydro Pump going to land on the Mindfu, and High Jump Kick is going to connect, but the thing, ooh, not quite in range of a Volt Switch KO, so Fatty just going to sack Arcan here on the U-turn. That's fine. Arcan's kind of done its job. Got some decent value out of that thing. Snubble coming back up. We're 4-2 here. He's up kind of in the back seat. Volt Switch. Wow, okay, that Snubble was in range. Fungus coming out here. Mindfu last Mon here for Heysup. And this is all but over here. Full para though. Gets the Acrobatics off. Doesn't quite knock this thing out. And oh, we see the Spore. Okay. Sleep being legal in this tier. And don't quite get this KO with the Sludge Bomb, but yeah, no, Heysup knows this one's done, so Fatty is going to get the victory here. Okay, yeah, so Heysup not all that happy, it looks like, but whatever. There you go. So yeah, Fatty up 1-0 here. Let's get into game 2. Right here we go, game 2. Black and White Little Cup. This is my tier. I like covering this one. And I do know from my experience covering Black and White Little Cup, I know that a Bidoof is a pretty uncommon Pokemon for Heysup to bring here. Well, I don't know about Heysup as a gamer, if that's a regular bring, but I know for this tier, Bidoof. Not a common pick, I should say. Not a bad Pokemon by any means, though. I mean, it can set up, I believe it gets Spikes and T-Spikes, and we got Sleep. No, we don't have Sleep in Black and White. I should know that by now, but either way, Bidoof can definitely do some stuff here. It's threatened by that Drifloon on the other side of the field, and of course the Volibee. Whether it be physical or special, that thing is packing a bird type move. Flying type move, of course. I like saying bird type though because it's fun. Yeah, other than that, Heysup bringing a gosh darn offensive team there. I'm expecting a physical Volibee here just to help support those two water types there. They're definitely looking to do some sweep in here, some water span here. I get the Mind Food because you have to. Might be looking to knock off some things too. And then you have Drillbur just for some support. Could see the same pack on the rocks. We'll have to wait and see. Fatty bringing a little bit more of a balanced team, bringing the Chinchou yet again, bringing the Pawniard yet again. Not something you see all the time in Black and White Little Cup, but is still common enough Pokemon for sure. Just it doesn't get the hard hitting knockoffs like you see in Gen 6 onwards. So, but still a very effective Pokemon in its own right. Has, Defiant such a good ability too with Intimidate flying around, which doesn't look like Heysup's bringing any Intimidate mons to this one, but still Pawniard good Pokemon in its own right. Yeah, going back to Fatty's team here, you got the Timber. That's a good Pokemon to have, especially in a matchup like this, because you get those priority Mach Punches off, which is going to do super effective damage to both Carvanha and the Tortuga. So expect Fatty to really preserve that Timber in the back and just maybe try to keep that thing for late game rather than getting aggressive with it early on. You also got a Volibee there. I could actually see this one being more of a special one, a Nasty Plot set. We'll have to wait and see, of course. Got the Staryu for the Rapid Spin support, which when you're packing two flying type Pokemon, you definitely want to have that. I would most certainly expect some type of Stealth Rocker on Heysup's team, whether it be in the Tortuga or the Drillbur. And then you have Drifloon as well. So yeah, let's get into it. Some Bird Spam from Fatty and some Water Spam from Heysup. We got a Drillbur lead from Heysup, Volibee lead from Fatty. I'm expecting some rocks early on here. Fatty confirming physical Volibee, goes for the U-turn there. Staryu coming out on the Stealth Rocks as expected. No spin blocker for Heysup, so Fatty's able to get off that Rapid Spin. Rock Tomb's going to land, and that Staryu's now going to be slower than the Drillbur, I believe, yes. Which can get some big damage off with Earthquake. Staryu's going to threaten the Scald. Doesn't kill, doesn't burn. That would have been nice. So Heysup just going to try to get these rocks up. Fatty predicting that, clicks the Rapid Spin. That's fair. Then goes into Volibee as Heysup goes for the Earthquake. Great play there by Fatty. Mind Fu coming in here for Heysup. Gets the knockoff. Thing loses the Violet. It's going to be a little bit easier to deal with now. Tortuga coming out here on the Brave Bird. Eats that. And what's Heysup going to do here with the Tortuga? You can commit to the Shell Smash. I'll have to wait and see. You turning on out of there is the Volibee. Timber coming out just in case. Yep. Do we see a White Herb? We don't see a White Herb, so this thing might drop to a Mach Punch. Heysup knows this, goes into Bidoof. And perhaps, probably expecting to live a hit. Fatty goes for the Drain Punch. Maybe expecting to switch to, it's tough to say. And gets the Poison Touch on the Bidoof. Now, this could be nice if this is a Guts Timber. I don't trust myself with looking at damage rolls after the fact here. Maybe I'll try to, maybe if you get one off here. No, we don't. If that thing's Guts, though, that's kind of nice. Layer of Spikes going up here from the Bidoof as Drifloon switches in. Tortuga coming back in again from Heysup. Can take an Acrobatics. And a Will-O-Wisp. That's big. But Tortuga just clicking the knockoff instead. Maybe expecting a switch there. Heysup just gonna go into Drillbur. Perhaps as a sack. Yep. It's gonna eat the Will-O-Wisp and then die to burn immediately after. So no rocks unless that Tortuga randomly has rocks. Probably not though. Of course, that'd be weird. Destiny Bond click from the Drifloon as the Volibee comes in on the Air Slash. Maybe clicking that instead of Dark Pulse, just in case this happened. Oh, nice. Fatty expecting a switch into something, lands a clutch. Will-O-Wisp on the Tortuga. That's very nice. Pawniard coming in here. Nobody can take anything from a burned Tortuga. Waterfall actually does a bit more than I expect, to be real. And we see Stealth Rocks go up here. Very nice. Tortuga still getting a bit of leverage here. Gets a knockoff, but the Choice Scarf on the Pawniard. So this can actually switch up moves now. So I think Fatty's okay with that at this point in the battle. Carvana comes out. Staryu coming in here on the protect, but Carvana gonna get a speed boost here. A Dark Pulse is good to knock out that Staryu from that range, obviously. And this is the Life Orb Carvana too. Could put in some work, but you got that Timber though. Fatty gonna go into Volibee here. Mind Fu for Heysup. On the U-turn, okay. So Fatty confident he can live a hit from that Carvana. Drifloon coming in here. Gets a big Acrobatics off on that Mind Fu, which I believe lost its Violate earlier. Yes, it did, so don't have a chance in heck of taking that. Carvana coming out here. Without Unburden, that thing can actually outspeed. That wasn't a speed tie, was it? Oh, it might have been a speed tie. Either way, Carvana getting a kill there. But Timber can just come right back out. Threatens the Mach Punch, right? Clicking Drain Punch. On the Protect turn. Bidoof coming back out. We might be able to see... there's the Mach Punch. Yeah, let's... Okay, so wait, Mach Punch doing 13. What did Drain Punch do earlier? Very quality commentary here, just going back. Oh, there we go. On the Bidoof, 17. And then the Mach Punch doing 13. I don't know if that's Guts. I'm kind of leaning towards Iron Fist. I feel like Mach Punch would have done more there if it was Guts. Alright, let's get back into it here. Pawniard coming out here. Synthesis. Gets the Iron Head off. And gets a flinch. Nice. Timely flinch. I could have prevented another layer of spikes, or maybe an HP Fire or something. Or Synthesis. But Fatty can just stay in here, keep spamming, gets another flinch, that's timely. Gonna get a big hit off on something here. Volibee switching in. This is weak armor, it's gonna get activated here. Yes, it is. Why else would it be? Gets a hidden power KO. I'm thinking that's fire. No, it would be packing Heat Wave, wouldn't it? Perhaps it's fighting. Volibee coming out on the Air Slash. But able to get the Brave Bird KO, especially with that -1 defense. Carvana coming out here. Chinchou making its debut finally. On the Hydro Pump miss, though, I mean, this could have been Water Absorb, for all we know. That would be very nice in this situation, but instead switching up to Dark Pulse, of course. And we see the Volt Switch, just clean knocking out that Carvana. And this is game, yep. So they have lots of conversation in the end. Holy cow, okay. Yeah. I'm gonna catch up on all this later. Yeah, Heysup not happy. Yeah, I ain't gonna get into that. Oh, I mean, I guess I've kind of gone into it by by showing this chat log, I guess, but I'm not gonna take part in all of that. But yeah, congrats Fatty, moving on to the playoffs here. Moving on to quarterfinals, which have started this week. This is the last week 6 match I had to cover, so there you go. Of the ones that Fee wanted me to cover, or suggested I cover rather. So shout out to Fee for that insider information on knowing that this is a winner moves on game. Heysup out of the tournament, I do believe, not moving on to the quarterfinals, but hey, put up a good fight in this one. And that's it. So yeah, stay tuned for quarterfinals action coming right up. Be sure to like, subscribe if you enjoyed this, and thanks for watching. Peace.